Nobody talks about this country. You probably couldn't even name a single city inside it. And yet, right now, they're building a $30 billion megacity, with canals inspired by Amsterdam and a skyscraper that'll be the 6th tallest building on Earth. Hey, I'm your host Regis, and today, we're exploring the most ambitious project that you've never heard of, New Tashkent in Uzbekistan. This is Central Asia, the region between Russia, Iran, China, and the Middle East. And if you zoom in, you can see Uzbekistan right in the heart of it, surrounded by countries like Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, and Turkmenistan. It's a nation of 37 million people that used to be a key part of the Silk Road. That's the ancient trade route that connected Europe and Asia for around 1500 years. But for decades, Uzbekistan has been cut off from everyone else. First, it was under Soviet control, then under an authoritarian government that kept the country closed off from international investment and trade. But in recent years, everything has changed. In 2016, a new president took over, and he had a completely different vision for the country. He opened up the economy, reformed the currency, and started welcoming foreign investors with open arms. Because of that, foreign investment shot up from practically nothing to over $4 billion every year. Suddenly, Uzbekistan had money to spend. The problem? Their current capital, Tashkent, is old, overcrowded, and frankly, not impressive enough for a country trying to rebrand itself on the world stage. The city's population density has nearly doubled since 1991. Every year, they've had to build more than 20,000 new apartments, 40 schools, and dozens of hospitals just to keep up. In 2023, Tashkent ranked 157 out of 173 cities in the world's most livable cities index, just 16 away from the bottom. So they came up with a new solution: build a completely new city from scratch. A modern metropolis that'll show the world that Uzbekistan is ready for business. The hope is to turn Tashkent into one of the top 50 most livable cities in the world by 2030. And it's the vision of this guy. Since becoming the president in 2016, he's wanted to put his country back on the world map. He literally said, through the Tashkent City project, we should make a statement about ourselves. In other words, he wants to rebrand the country as open for business and bring in foreign money, lots of it. It's so important to him that he took charge of the project himself, looking closely at all the plans and making decisions at every step. Essentially, he believed that when people look at a country, they judge it by what they see. In other words, if your cities look irrelevant, people might think your whole country is. So he came up with a simple plan to change the country's reputation. Build something so big, so impossible to ignore, that the world has no choice but to take notice. But where do you actually put an entirely new capital city? It'll be built right here, around 20 kilometers east of current Tashkent, covering 25,000 hectares between the Chirkich and Karasu River. That's roughly 1/3 of the size of Singapore, and it basically doubles the size of the current capital. Right now, Tashkent is home to just under 3 million people, but the expansion is designed to house another 2.5 million more. That's like dropping the entire population of Chicago onto what used to be empty farmland. And over the next 20 years, the population of Tashkent as a whole is expected to reach around 7.4 million. Their master plan follows what's called 15-minute city principles. It might sound like a marketing buzzword, but it's all about ensuring the city is actually livable. Here's how it works. They're creating what they call super mahallas, basically upgraded versions of traditional Uzbek neighborhoods, which are known for their maze-like alleys and homes built around courtyards. Each one will be around 400 meters across. That's a comfortable 5-minute walk from edge to edge. Within each super mahalla, you'll find everything you need for daily life. There will be schools within 500 meters of every home, and kindergartens even closer, just 300 meters away. Shops, clinics, and pharmacies will all be within walking distance. But cars won't be able to cut through these neighborhoods. Just like Barcelona's superblocks, private vehicles are kept on the edges, leaving the inside for people, bikes, and peaceful living. The chief architect studied cities around the world and came to a simple conclusion. Most old cities were built in circles, with everything radiating out from the center, kind of like spokes on a wheel. But then, as transport got more advanced, city planners started building in straight grids. The problem with that is that you're always stuck making 90-degree turns. Cities like Barcelona and Washington figured out that you could keep the grid but slice diagonal streets right through it. That means you can cut straight across at an angle and never feel trapped by rigid city blocks. Then there's the technology, and this is where it gets really interesting. New Tashkent will use something called a digital twin. You might have heard about digital twins in places like Singapore and Helsinki, but most cities are still testing smaller versions, like LA's pilot project that only covers a few blocks downtown, or Dubai's system that's mainly used for static planning. New Tashkent's digital twin is different. It's a complete living replica of the entire city that updates in real time. Every building, street, and water pipe gets monitored constantly. Singapore uses this same technology to stop millions of dollars in flood damage by catching problems early. And speaking of water, a canal network runs through the entire city. You can literally start walking in one park, follow the canals, and end up on the other side of the city without even touching a main road. Around 23% of the entire city will be public green space. And that doesn't even count the private courtyard and university campuses, which have their own green requirements. And for power, they're going 100% renewable. Solar panels will generate 400 megawatts, and upgraded hydroelectric plants will add another 1,200 megawatts. On top of that, they'll burn cotton waste in so-called tri-generational boilers that produce electricity, heating, and cooling all at once. New Tashkent has been called Central Asia's Amsterdam, and it's a good comparison in theory. They've also planned some impressive buildings, and the centerpiece will be the Twin City Towers, shooting 575 meters into the sky. When it's done, it'll be the world's 6th tallest building. But the Twin Towers are only the beginning. This is the Alisher Navoy Center. Designed by Zaha Hadid architects, it's built with locally made Tashkent bricks and uses cooling systems inspired by traditional Central Asian wind towers. Think of those old Silk Road buildings that kept merchants cool in the desert heat, now updated with modern engineering. There's also a $250 million water park and resort complex planned. Now, this does raise the question about where all this water is coming from, but we'll get to that one in a second. All this construction sounds promising on paper, but this type of vision means nothing without real progress. Uzbekistan wants to attract $120 billion in private investment, and worldwide major investors are already stepping up. But is there actual on-site progress happening? Well, District 1 got government approval back in June 2024. That covers the first 6,000 hectares, a huge chunk of land where farmland is becoming something completely different. Multiple lots have already been sold within the first 1,000 hectares. Infrastructure work is already underway, and by the end of 2028, the whole Tashkent region should have 23 completed renewable energy projects, with a combined capacity of around 2.4 gigawatts. To put that into perspective, that's enough clean energy to power roughly 5 million homes. New Tashkent is designed for 2.5 million people, but this renewable energy isn't just for the new city. It's part of a massive green transformation for the entire region, including Old Tashkent and all the surrounding area. Metro construction has already begun, connecting New Tashkent to existing Tashkent lines. And temporary buildings have been set up so that the Minister for Energy can already work in the new city. They're also building entire college campuses from scratch, complete with dorms, classrooms, and everything students need. From 2027, students are expected to be studying in these new buildings. According to the latest estimates, the initial 6,000 hectares should be finished in the next 8 to 10 years. But here's why that timeline really matters. Uzbekistan has a job crisis that's getting worse. Almost 55% of young people finish school, and then nothing. No job, no further education. They're just stuck. Right now, 90,000 college graduates can't find work in their field, and every single year, 250,000 more people reach working age. That's 250,000 people annually looking for opportunities that simply don't exist. Most people in Uzbekistan are under 30 years old, but the country's only creating around 1% more jobs each year. Basically, the economy has been stuck depending on old industries, and foreign companies weren't investing much money. Now, the hope is that New Tashkent could provide the careers that these young people need. But we still need to talk about the water, because 25,000 hectares is massive. That's a lot of agricultural land about to become urban real estate. Think about this for a moment. Uzbekistan is one of the most water-stressed countries in the world, and the vast majority of its water is already used for farming. They don't control their own water supply, and the numbers keep getting worse. In fact, the country could face a shortage of 15 billion cubic meters by 2030. That's enough to supply New York City for 9 years. So, can they actually build Central Asia's Amsterdam without running out of water? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next video.